Over the last few weeks, we've seen this flood of huge announcements in the world of AI. Microsoft drops a stark warning about China. Apple and Google, of all companies, form this wild alliance. And suddenly, AI agents are actually getting jobs inside our computers. Now, at first glance, these all seem like totally separate stories. But they're not. They're all deeply connected pieces of the same future. And it's being built as we speak. So, what is the connection, really? What could possibly link the voice assistant on your phone, the way you buy stuff online, and the entire global balance of power? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental shift in how artificial intelligence is being built and unleashed across the world. See, every single one of these developments, from a corporate strategy meeting to a new line of code, is another brick being laid in a radical new AI-powered world. So to really understand where we're all headed, we have to connect the dots and see how these pieces fit together. All right, let's get into it. First up, we're starting with the big picture, the global stage. And this whole story really kicks off with a critical warning from one of the biggest players on the planet, Microsoft. Microsoft has a front row seat to what the entire world is using, and they are sounding the alarm. What they're saying is that the AI race, it's not just about who has the fanciest model locked away in a lab anymore. Oh no. It is now a full-blown geopolitical competition for hearts, minds, and most importantly, markets all across the globe. And what's so fascinating is how it breaks down into two completely different strategies. For years, the West has been all about these high-end, super expensive proprietary models, perfect for giant companies in developed countries. But China, they're playing a totally different game. They're pushing AI that's cheap, easy to get your hands on, and often open source. And that makes their stuff incredibly appealing to developing nations and smaller businesses that care way more about cost and access than about having the absolute top-tier features. And don't think this is just a few scrappy startups. China's approach is a full-on national effort. We're talking total government backing, massive spending on digital infrastructure, a huge home market to test everything out, and this whole group of super innovative firms, people call them the Six Little Dragons, that are just moving at lightning speed. So the key takeaway is this. The West isn't competing against one company, it's up against an entire coordinated ecosystem that is built for speed and scale. So when you're faced with that kind of intense global competition, with the real risk of getting locked out of the world's future growth markets, what do the Western tech giants do? Well, they do what rivals have always done when they face a common enemy. They team up. And that response brings us to the second massive piece of this puzzle, a true blockbuster partnership between two of tech's biggest and fiercest competitors. That's right, Apple has officially picked Google to help power its next generation of AI. And just to be clear, this is not some minor feature update. The rumored price tag, and it's not official, but it's out there, is around $1 billion a year. That number tells you everything. This isn't about adding a button to Siri. This is an infrastructure-level alliance. This is about building the absolute foundation for AI on more than 2 billion Apple devices. So here's basically how it's going to work. Apple is building this really smart routing system. For a lot of your requests, its own AI will handle things right there on your device, which is great for privacy. But for the really tough questions, it'll intelligently route the request to whatever the best model is for that specific job. The main foundation is going to be Google's Gemini, but OpenAI's ChatGPT will still be an option. So you see, Apple isn't just picking one winner, they're creating a powerhouse by stacking the best of the best. And this just says it all. Apple didn't just quietly sign a deal in some back room. No, they came out and publicly said that after looking at everyone, including other big players like Anthropic, they believe Google's Gemini is the most capable foundation out there today. That is a massive, massive vote of confidence. Okay, so we've got a global AI race, and we've got a new mega alliance forming. But at the exact same time, the technology itself is taking a giant leap forward. AI is evolving from being a passive assistant into an active agent that can actually do things for you. And this distinction is so important. An AI assistant, the Siri we're used to, gives you information. An AI agent, on the other hand, gets your permission to go into your files, your apps, and your data to actually complete tasks for you. It's really the difference between asking someone for advice and just delegating the whole job to them. And this isn't science fiction, it's happening right now. A perfect example is Anthropic's new co-work feature for its Claude AI. You can literally give it permission to look inside a folder on your Mac, and it can take all your messy notes and organize them into a clean report, pull data out of images, and even go browse the web to fill in any missing pieces. It's a true digital coworker. And this whole idea of an AI agent isn't just stuck on your desktop. It's already jumping into our real-world interactions. There's a company called Manus that has this tool designed for in-person meetings. It records the conversation, even if the internet dies, and then the AI figures out who said what, creates a summary, and spits out a to-do list with tasks assigned to the right people. It's an agent that actually closes the loop between talking about work and getting work done. It's a huge step. So, AI agents are organizing our digital lives, they're organizing our meetings. What's the next logical step? Well, of course, it's to bring that intelligence out into the physical world. Let's take a look at how AI is starting to power robots. So, meet Neo. This is a humanoid robot from a company called 1X Technologies. And it is not learning the old-fashioned way, where engineers have to painstakingly program every little movement. Nope. Instead, it's learning by watching just massive amounts of video from the internet, basically learning the same way a human would. So the key to how this works is pretty mind-blowing. The AI, which they call a world model, doesn't just see what's happening right now. It is constantly predicting the future. It generates these little videos in its mind of what it thinks should happen next, and then it translates that visual prediction into the actual physical commands to move its arms and legs. It's learning how to act by first learning how to anticipate. Okay, so we are not quite at Terminator speed just yet. Right now, there's about an 11-second delay between the robot seeing something and the model figuring out the right action. But that's not the point. What this shows is incredible progress, because this method lets the robot generalize. It can handle new objects and new tasks that it was never ever explicitly trained on. That's the breakthrough. All right, let's recap. We have a global power struggle, new corporate alliances, AI agents that can work for us, and now robots that can act for us. There's just one giant piece of the puzzle missing. How do all these new AI agents actually plug into the economy? How do they buy things? And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of this whole thing. Hiding in plain sight, Google has been quietly building the foundational plumbing for an entirely new AI-driven economy, and it's called the Universal Commerce Protocol. The best way to think about this is like a universal language just for shopping. Right now, every website is built differently, which is super confusing for an AI. This protocol creates one standard way for your AI agent to talk directly to a store's AI, letting it make a purchase for you completely seamlessly. And by partnering with giants like Walmart and Shopify and plugging into payment systems like PayPal, Google is building the default setting that will let our AI agents not just find information, but actually spend our money right from inside a search or a chat. And this brings us right back to where we started. All these seemingly separate pieces, the geopolitics, the corporate alliances, the agent technology, and now the economic rules, they're all converging. They are building a future where autonomous AI agents act as our proxies in both the digital world and the physical world, which of course